April 11, 1951. The White House crackled with tension. President Harry S. Truman, a man known for his decisive nature, faced an unprecedented crisis. General Douglas MacArthur, the supreme commander in Korea, had defied him publicly and repeatedly. Truman had endured months of insubordination, but a breaking point was reached. The order was signed, irrevocably severing the career of America's most celebrated, yet dangerously independent, military leader. This was more than a mere dismissal, it was a constitutional showdown over who truly commanded the armed forces. Image, President Harry S. Truman at his Oval Office desk, looking stern, April 1951, B-roll, archival footage of reporters rushing towards White House press room. Douglas MacArthur was born into privilege and military tradition in 1880, a son of a Civil War hero. From West Point, where he graduated top of his class, he seemed destined for greatness. He commanded a brigade in World War I, becoming the youngest general officer in the American Expeditionary Forces. His career was a meteoric rise, fueled by prodigious talent, unwavering self-confidence, and an almost messianic belief in his own judgment. This cultivated legend made him invaluable, yet also insulated him from the typical restraints of command, setting a dangerous precedent for future conflicts. Image, young Douglas MacArthur in World War I uniform, circa 1918, B-roll, black and white archival footage of West Point cadets marching. During World War II, MacArthur's defiance was already legendary. After being ordered by President Roosevelt to abandon the Philippines in 1942, he famously declared, "I shall return." And he did. 2 years later, in October 1944, MacArthur waded ashore at Leyte Gulf, fulfilling his promise and solidifying his image as the Pacific savior. His strategic brilliance, audacious island-hopping campaigns, and unparalleled charisma made him a public idol. This immense popularity gave him a political power base that even presidents found difficult to counter, further emboldening his independent spirit. Image, MacArthur wading ashore at Leyte Gulf, October 1944, iconic photo, B-roll, archival footage of U.S. Marines landing on Pacific Islands, heavy fighting. After Japan's surrender in September 1945, MacArthur took on the extraordinary role of Supreme Commander for the Allied Powers, SCAP, in occupied Japan. For nearly 6 years, he ruled Japan as a benevolent dictator, overseeing its transformation into a democratic nation. He bypassed Washington, answering directly to no one but his own conscience. This period reinforced his belief in his singular vision and capacity for leadership, even above that of his civilian superiors. He was, to many, the uncrowned king of Japan, wielding immense power far from the direct oversight of the American government. Image, Douglas MacArthur shaking hands with Emperor Hirohito, Tokyo 1945, B-roll, archival footage of post-war Tokyo, reconstruction efforts. When North Korea invaded the South in June 1950, plunging the world into the Cold War's first hot conflict, MacArthur was again called upon. His audacious Incheon landing on September 15, 1950, was a stroke of strategic genius, turning the tide of the war overnight. Against the advice of his staff and the Joint Chiefs of Staff, MacArthur pushed for the high-risk amphibious assault. The brilliant success only deepened his conviction that his strategic insights were superior to anyone else's, including the collective wisdom in Washington. This bolstered his willingness to ignore warnings and push boundaries. Image, U.S. Marines storming Incheon Beach during the landing, September 1950, B-roll, archival footage of Korean War frontline, tanks, soldiers. After Incheon, MacArthur pressed his advantage, driving UN forces deep into North Korea, towards the Yalu River border with China. Despite explicit warnings from Beijing about intervention, and growing apprehension from President Truman and the Joint Chiefs to limit the war, MacArthur dismissed these concerns. He saw victory within grasp, believing Chinese threats were mere bluff. His ambition to unite Korea under democratic rule overshadowed cautious strategy, leading to a catastrophic Chinese counteroffensive that completely reversed UN gains. This was a clear escalation against the expressed policy of his commander-in-chief. Image, illustration needed, map showing UN forces pushing to the Yalu River in Chinese intervention, B-roll, black and white footage of Chinese human wave attacks. The tension between MacArthur and Truman became untenable. Truman sought a limited war to avoid direct confrontation with China and the Soviet Union. MacArthur, however, publicly advocated for a full-scale victory, including bombing China and using Taiwanese nationalist troops. On April 5, 1951, MacArthur sent a letter to House Minority Leader Joseph Martin, openly criticizing Truman's strategy, "There is no substitute for victory." This public act of insubordination was a direct challenge to the president's authority and a dangerous precedent for military control over foreign policy. Image, headline from a newspaper announcing MacArthur's letter to Martin, April 1951, B-roll, footage of Joseph Martin speaking, then archival footage of political debate. President Truman, understanding the fundamental constitutional principle of civilian control over the military, could no longer tolerate MacArthur's defiance. On April 11, 1951, he relieved the general of all his commands. The decision sent shockwaves across America. While many saw Truman as weak, others recognized the critical stand he took. It was a dramatic assertion that no military leader, however brilliant or popular, could undermine the president's authority or dictate national policy. The incident solidified a crucial boundary in American democracy, reaffirming civilian supremacy. Image, front page of the New York Times, April 12, 1951, announcing MacArthur's dismissal, B-roll, archival footage of citizens reacting to the news, protests and support rallies. MacArthur returned home to a hero's welcome, greeted by ticker-tape parades and immense public adoration. On April 19, 1951, in a powerful farewell address to Congress, he famously declared, "Old soldiers never die, they just fade away." Though his military career ended in disgrace, his political ambitions were also short-lived. MacArthur, the brilliant strategist and defiant individualist, remains a complex figure. He pushed the boundaries of military conduct and presidential authority, demonstrating how a general's unyielding belief in his own vision, however effective in battle, could become a dangerous force against the democratic system he served. Image, Douglas MacArthur delivering his farewell address to Congress, April 1951, B-roll, archival footage of MacArthur's ticker-tape parade in New York City. General Douglas MacArthur's story is a compelling reminder of the delicate balance between military genius and democratic governance. His brilliance saved nations, but his defiance threatened the very foundations of American constitutional order. He was, in essence, a necessary danger, a man whose unique blend of talent and insubordination shaped not just battlefields, but the very definition of command. His actions continue to provoke debate. Was he a patriot wronged, or a rogue general who pushed too far? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this deep dive into history fascinating, please like this video and subscribe for more untold stories of power and conflict.